On the cold night of February 14, 2025, a low-flying drone slammed into the very structure designed to protect humanity from one of the worst disasters in history. Chernobyl's new safe confinement, a massive steel arch built to entomb the ruins of Reactor 4, was never supposed to be breached. And yet, it was. The explosion ripped a hole large enough to drop a vehicle through. Flames erupted, smoke curled into the dark sky. And suddenly, what we thought was buried forever was screaming to be noticed once again. But what if this wasn't just an accident of war? What if the shield we trusted to guard the world is now falling apart from within? To understand the weight of what happened, we must return to where it all began. In 1986, the core of Reactor 4 exploded in a violent chain reaction, spewing radioactive material across Europe. In desperation, Soviet engineers constructed a concrete sarcophagus around the remains, a crumbling tomb made under the shadow of death. For decades, it held, barely. By the early 2000s, cracks had appeared. Water seeped in, steel rusted, and the radiation inside began to stir once more. That's when the world came together, spending over 2 billion euros to build a new containment structure. A gleaming steel arch meant to last 100 years. The new safe confinement. But beneath the surface of this high-tech shell, corrosion, rot, and silence festered. It was never indestructible. We just pretended it was. At 1:52 a.m., February 14th, a Shet-136 suicide drone part of Russia's relentless arsenal breached Chernobyl airspace. It flew low, dodging detection, before slamming into the dome. The resulting explosion tore a hole nearly 6 meters wide in the roof. Flames erupted instantly, fueled by flammable insulation. The new safe confinement, designed to keep the world safe from radioactive dust, was now bleeding smoke into the night. Videos released by Ukrainian defense showed flickering flames beneath. The arch, glowing against the skeletal beams like an open wound. The world watched in disbelief. Was this intentional? A message? Or simply the most dangerous coincidence in modern warfare? Even more terrifying, no one could agree on the answer. The fire burned for hours. Ukrainian emergency teams struggled to gain access while risking exposure to dangerous zones. At first, authorities reported no increase in radiation. But then came the satellite scans, thermal anomalies, hotspots. The damage wasn't just cosmetic. It had burned through an inner membrane, a key barrier keeping the reactor remains isolated. Officials assured the world that nothing escaped, but unofficial reports whispered of elevated radiation near the breach. The arch had lost pressure, integrity. In spring, rain could carry particles down into the structure, and from there, into groundwater. Summer heat could lift contaminated dust back into the air. One failure could lead to a chain reaction of collapses inside the already unstable ruins. All it would take is time. This wasn't just an attack on a structure. It was an attack on memory, on legacy, on the illusion of control. Some believe it was a warning from Moscow, aligning with the Munich Security Conference to remind the West of nuclear chaos. Others call it a desperate accident. But either way, the implications are chilling. If international agreements can't protect even Chernobyl's sacred ground of catastrophe, what else can fall? What about Zaporizhia, still active and uncontested? Territory? What about the precedent? A nuclear structure attacked, and the world moved on. The line has been crossed, and the silence is louder than the explosion. The breach has been sealed for now. The fires are out. The radiation contained. But what about the structure itself? Engineers warn it may not withstand another strike. Some say the damage is minor. Others fear the entire arch could be compromised by microfractures and thermal warping. The cost of repairs could reach hundreds of millions. Meanwhile, the world looks away, focused on the next battle, the next front, the next threat. But Chernobyl is still there, smoldering in the background, a silent sentinel of our failures, a ticking relic. And when it fails, because all things do, who will be ready to face what emerges from its broken shell? Buried files, stories the world tried to bury. Like, subscribe, and comment your opinions.